The UCO suspects that the PSOE's fixer, Leire Díez, was the front woman for Pedro Sanchez's right-hand man, Santos Cerdán. Let's get started. Hello everyone and welcome to a new edition of Precautionary Measures. There's less time left until Holy Week, but that doesn't mean information stops coming out. We continue investigating Sanchez-linked corruption, and today we're going to expand on some very relevant information because of what it could mean. And that's the role of the PSOE's fixer, Leire Díez, which directly affects the person who used to be the right-hand man of the PSOE, Pedro Sánchez's ally, Santos Cerdán. Stay until the end of the video because you're going to be surprised by the suspicions of the Central Operative Unit of the Civil Guard, UCO, about this. And what role would they play in the corruption scheme known as the CEPI scheme, also called Operation Leire? We're going to share the information on screen, as we always do, so you can follow along from home. Here's a photo of Leire Díez at the famous press conference, the one where she acted like a Hollywood star, but then she was arrested and Leire Díez didn't feel like posing anymore. Alright, the Central Operative Unit of the Civil Guard, UCO, suspects that Leire Díez was a front person for the former organization secretary of the PSOE and right-hand man of Pedro Sánchez, Santos Cerdán. Pay attention because she received smaller amounts of money from the illegal kickbacks she obtained, together with the businessman Anchón Alonso and the former president of the State Industrial Holdings Company CEPI, Vicente Fernández. All of this is within the framework of the investigation known as Operation Leire or the CEPI scheme. That is, let's explain this because I think it's very significant. The UCO is investigating the kickbacks, the illegal commissions that were collected within the framework of Operation Leire or the CEPI scheme by Leire Díez herself. Former CEPI President Vicente Fernández and the man who had been Santos Cerdán's partner. And what caught their attention was that out of the three, the one who received the least was Leire Díez. Why? Because they suspect that part of it went to Leire Díez and another part to Santos Cerdán. And that somehow Leire Díez, as the UCO believes, would be a front for Santos Cerdán when it comes to collecting the illegal commissions from this corruption scheme. The head of the Central Investigative Court No. 5 of the National Court, Santiago Pedraz, is investigating this case. The PSOE's fixer, the alleged partner of Santos Cerdán in the company Servinavar, Anchón Alonso, and the former president of CEPI, all three were arrested in December by the UCO for crimes of misconduct, embezzlement, influence peddling, and criminal organization. They were eventually released after testifying in court, since the Anti-Corruption Prosecutor's Office did not request provisional detention during the precautionary measures hearing, as this channel reported. According to our case sources, precautionary measures and digital freedom. They tell us that investigators suspect that Leire Díez was actually acting as a front for Santos Cerdán in the criminal scheme, since she was receiving illegal commissions lower than those obtained by Anchón Alonso and Vicente Fernández within the framework of the corruption scheme. And therefore part of it went to Leire Díez and another part to Santos Cerdán. This is what the UCO suspects. Just as we also published here, in Medidas Cautelares and in Libertad Digital. The current president of the Central Administrative Tribunal for Contractual Appeals, María de la Concepción Ordiz Fuertes, known as Conchita, is also involved in this corruption scheme. The president of this tribunal was appointed by the Council of Ministers at the proposal of the Minister of Finance, María Jesús Montero, in June 2021. The UCO has found communications and files that show how the president of the Central Administrative Tribunal for Contractual Appeals, appointed by Montero, made decisions under the direction of the former president of CEPI, Vicente Fernández. You already know that Vicente Fernández and María Jesús Montero were very close, right? I mean, let that be very clear. The same sources we consulted emphasize that the investigation into Operation Leire is confirming that the aforementioned Vicente Fernández continued to act as the de facto president of CEPI, even though he was dismissed by María Jesús Montero. In October 2019, that is, he was officially dismissed in 2019, but he kept doing as he pleased at CEPI. Currently, Belén Gualda is the president of the State Industrial Holdings Company. We remember that Leire Díez, Vicente Fernandez, and Anchon Alonso, the three main accused in this CEPI scheme or Operation Leire, call it whatever you want, were part of a WhatsApp group called Irurok, which means the three together in Basque, in which they discussed and negotiated the illegal commissions they would receive after obtaining certain contracts or public subsidies. In addition, they used their influence in the Ministry of Finance under María Jesús Montero and in the Ministry for Ecological Transition during Teresa Rivera's term to obtain kickbacks through the granting of public contracts or subsidies. This influence would have been used to rig at least 5 contracts, 5 that are known so far. You know the investigation is under seal. I think this is going to be a huge scandal. The investigators estimate these 5 contracts at a total of 133 million euros. That's no small amount. It's worth noting that the UCO requested documentation in December 2025, that is 3 months ago, regarding bids and public contracts suspected of irregularities or rigging. The agents showed up at locations such as the State Heritage Directorate General and the aforementioned Administrative Court. For contractual appeals, the Post Office, and the Departments of Ecological Transition, specifically Energy Policy and Mines. Specifically, they were looking for award files in companies such as CEPI, Enusa, Mercasa, Forestalia, and others, where the corrupt network allegedly intervened to influence decisions or prevent appeals. As we also mentioned regarding precautionary measures, UCO agents have already located and seized a drive, a storage platform. Former president of CEPI, Vicente Fernandez, after his arrest 3 months ago. The corrupt network regularly used this storage platform to upload all the information about the public contracts that were being rigged to obtain kickbacks. The investigators have even found minutes prepared by those under investigation, where they documented their alleged criminal activity. Pay attention to those minutes because I think they're going to make for some very interesting afternoons. The Civil Guard also found numerous messages exchanged through messaging services with more protection than WhatsApp, such as Signal. These communications would show that the former president of CEPI, Vicente Fernandez, and the PSOE's fixer, Leire Díez, had a very close relationship. Operation Leire, which is being investigated under seal, remains open, and new police operations involving more people in the scheme cannot be ruled out. Corrupt? In other words, we're just getting started. Operation Leire, this CEPI scheme, whatever you want to call it, involves Leire Díez, the PSOE's fixer, and the former president of CEPI, Vicente Fernandez, and the one who was Santos Cerdán's partner in Servinabar, Anchon Alonso. Pay close attention in the coming weeks and months because I believe that in this corrupt scheme, police operations involving people cannot be ruled out. Leire Díez would be acting as a front for Santos Cerdán in that corrupt scheme, and part of the kickbacks were kept by Leire Díez, the Leire operation which is being secretly investigated. It's open and not under precautionary measures. Of course, any information, any updates. Police operations involve the scheme. Masepi, we will keep reporting on this Leire operation here on the Medidas Cautelares channel. Which operation? You leave me positive comments every day. I don't miss any of your videos. How is it possible that with so much corruption nothing happens? Well, I think things are happening. We would all like justice to be faster, investigations to be quicker, but things are happening today. Secret. We are making progress, and I believe that our role and our duty is to keep reporting, mine specifically through this Libertad Digital channel. No, people. The operation is ongoing and police operations are not ruled out so that everyone, of course, stays informed. You already know you can join as chosen members for under €3 a month or as supreme members for under €7 a month. You can also contribute via Bizum at 627-556-370, 627-556-370. The most important thing, as always, is que esta información llega a todo el mundo por Plot, this is Power. See you soon.